Good afternoon, everybody. Today is October 23rd, 2016. I'm going to be going over this week's trade ideas. Let's load this. I forgot to do that. Alright, first one on this week's list is ACAD. Now, I like where the couple candles came in here before the day prior to. A couple days before had a nice bullish harami. Then we came up here with a nice Pearson pattern, and then obviously in Friday's session we had a big volume move here into Friday. I'm long on this thing, and I'm gonna be holding some of it because I feel like the chart does have a good way to go up still. So if you're looking to play it, I would be looking for a pullback into this $25 range, right about where the 8 EMA stays right here. Chart came above this little area, so that little peak right there and that inverted hammer when it was coming down should provide for enough support down right at $25. If you can get the $25 range, I think you can take the trade on the long side. Add over the 13 EMA. I'm actually looking for this chart to retest this line that it broke over here. So I'm going to hold my, I think it's a 24.17 or something like that I have average. I'm going to hold this one till I'm trying to get it up to 29 or so. So not sure if I'm going to get all the way up there, but that's the intention. So if you were looking to play it, try to play a pullback on it. About the 25 range, MACD's nicely settled here. Stochastics are fine, and you have volume into the push. So all scenarios here for a nice long trade on ACAD. Next is GWPH. Eventually, I'll load a chart here. Okay. Bearish harami right under its 813 over here. Chart broke this area, has a huge gap to fill, wants to retest this range. So before it retests, let's catch it on the short side. I'm thinking if we get a move up to 125, you can take it on the short. Obviously, you have to have a risk associated with any trade, so you'll play that risk somewhere off of this trend line break here, which would put you somewhere above 126. So if you take a short on the 125, try to see if we can get it to come down and retest this area here at the 116 range for the final exit. Next on the list is CWEI. 813 cross down. Chart's been having a really nice uptrend here for a while. We have earnings coming up on this one on the 2nd of next month. So if you are playing it, holding it, or keeping it, just remember that. Chart came down into this area here. It's breaking the most recent area of support right down here. Nice retest and rejection candle. So I'm looking on this one for a nice short, bring back down to about the 73 area. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to see the chart make a quick little push back up into about it's at 80.29 right now. So I'm thinking about $81.30 for a retest. And then I'm going to see if we can try to bring it back down into this range right over its 50 EMA. Next on the list is NUS. This chart holds the trend when it comes to it. Earnings over here works good. Earnings coming up on the 3rd of next month, so keep that in mind if you are trading it. I'm looking for a short on this one right now. And so I'd like to play a push off of the downtrend line here and try to see if the chart can come back and retest this area here at about $61. So if we get a push up on NUS to about 64, chart sitting at 63.25. If it gets rejected at the 64, we're taking it long. Play into this trend line here. If it breaks the trend line, you can add into the short and try to get that retest off this trend line, and also on the 50 EMA right there. Volume seller is here, so we're looking okay on the short side. CLW. Obviously, chart had a huge big day on Friday. Big day down, that is. I'm looking for a little more continuation to the downside to about $54 on this one. Then we're going to try to play the bounce. Try to get it back up to about 58 or so. If we can get that area, then we'll re-short it at the 58. See if we can cruise it back down this way. So this chart has a lot of range, obviously. It was down about almost $9 on Friday. So I'm looking for one quick more sell off on this one to 54, and then try to play the bounce there up to about 58. So it's going to have range, and it's going to have some nice trades on this one. Just got to wait for your setups to happen. Next one is MO. Alright. Chart came right up to its 50 EMA and got rejected. Broke obviously out of the, well, it came out of the channel, reclaimed the channel. So what I'd like to see is a pullback to the bottom of the channel here, which would put me at about $63.25. Also should give me some range over here for some support. So $63.25 should give me enough enough range here for support. And if we can get this support off the trend line here, I'd like to obviously be long, add over the 50 EMA, and see if we can get it up for a bigger move to the upside. And next one on the list is ETE. ET, looking at an inverted head and shoulder here down at the bottom. Chart came down to this area, pushed up over its 50, came back to it, obviously broke that area. Now that it's coming back over it, what I'd like to do is I'd like to see a nice retest of the inverted head and shoulder here. So I'm looking somewhere closer to about the $16 area, and then I can take it long off of the inverted head and shoulder. If we can catch this range here on the upside, then I obviously would like to see a nicer move. Let's try to, okay, I would like to see a nicer move up through 17s, which would give you resistance here into this range. If we get it through 17s, and finally, obviously there's a lot of resistance coming up into this chart. So first you'd have to get through 17s, then 1730s, 1740s. Then you're going to run into all this resistance, but you're also going to be fighting a monster downtrend here. So if the chart was to hold this area, it's going to have a lot of resistance as it moves up. Probably it's going to be smaller charts, smaller day moves until it can get a range that going to the upside. Next on the list is KSS. So what I'm looking for on this one is I'm seeing the 50 EMA. It holds the strength here when it needs to, and so that's your uptrend right there. That would remain your obviously your last area for support, resistance, support, or any kind of hold for the chart. As the chart came above here, we got some volume coming in, trying to push over here. Made a slightly higher low as it came back down to retest. Now that it's sitting above the 813, I'm expecting for the chart to actually push through. So if we can get a pullback on this one down to about $44.65, I would like to be long on this one, and we're going to try to see if we can get it to break the trend here. Obviously the trend sits right above Friday's high peak. So if you get it back above that area, I think we can try to push the chart through the 46s. Next one on the list here is Brew, BREW. Okay, so on this chart, I'll eventually load. Okay, downtrend was broken here. Chart sits above its 50 EMA, and as long as the chart can hold its 50 EMA like it's done before, I would expect to try to find some kind of move off of this. The range that we have here on this support is really tight. It's a very tight little area here. As long as the chart stays in this range and doesn't break its 50 EMA, it seems to be a strong area for support. But now that we've broken the downtrend, the MACD's settle out, the stochastics is settle out, and we do have a little bit of volume coming in. Also watch for earnings on this one on the 2nd of next month, and make sure that you're not obviously holding into that. But if we can hold this here, can possibly get a push into earnings on this one, BREW. Next, last one on the list, Cxrx. Now I brought this up on Friday, even before the big move. We had brought it up in chat above the as the chart was coming over its 13 EMA on the daily chart. Now that the chart did close over its 13 EMA on the daily chart, I would obviously like to be long on this one on a pullback to the 13 EMA, which would put you right about the $4.15 range, and you don't really have much of a risk if you was to if you was to use this uptrend as some sort of a support, you should set your stop somewhere right under that uptrend right there. As we did have a lot of volume come into the chart, I am looking for a continuation move on this. If we was to get a move in the chart, was to break over this range over here in the fives, you can possibly get to fill this gap all the way up here to about 650. So that's the list for this week. I hope everybody has a safe trade-in week this week. And remember, I'm doing a webinar on Tuesday night, 9 o'clock Eastern Time. The link is on my Twitter. And for you guys that do not follow me, that's my Twitter. It's at Iceman Trading. And there you'll find links for everything that I do. And obviously, if you are interested in day trading with me at Iceman Trading Academy, please hit me up on Twitter or email me at barrymohan81@gmail.com. Have a good one.